this is Ginger from My Sister Scrapper. Well, today's the first day of our mini album tutorial series. This is the pocket page mini album with the tag pages as well. So hopefully everybody has your supplies ready. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right in. All the measurements for the that I'm going to give you will be in the description box of each video. So the measurements I give you today will be in the description box of this particular video. So what you're going to do first, and I went ahead just to save time, I pre-cut my my chipboard. So take your 12 by 12 sheet of chipboard, and you're going to need two pieces that are 6 by 6, and you're going to need one piece which is going to be your spine, and that's going to be 2 3/4 by 6 inches. So go ahead and cut those and then set those aside, and you'll have this left out of your 12 by 12. So then what you're going to need is your solid cardstock, and to create the pages we're going to use 3 pieces of 12 by 12. So you're going to go ahead and get your 12 by 12 sheets of paper out and grab your cutter. And you're going to take your 12 by 12 sheet of paper and you're going to cut it down to 5 3/4 by 12. So it should look like this. So it's going to be 5 3/4 by 12 inches, and you can get 2 of these out of one sheet of 12 by 12. So go ahead and cut it so you have 5 of these. Okay, so that is 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces that are 5 3/4 by 12. Those are going to be 5 of the pages. And then to create the pocket pages, the tag pockets, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 5 3/4 by 7.5, and you need 2 of these. And you can use your 8.5 by 11 if you want, or you can use your 12 by 12, whichever you prefer. So go ahead and cut those to 5 3/4. By 7 1/2. And this you can use for a tag. And we're going to cut one more. 5 3/4 by 7 1/2. Okay, so these are all the pages that we need for our actual pages, and then we'll create some flaps to add on those, as well as some other little add-ons to go onto the actual pocket pages. But this is the base, so you should have 5 of these that are 5 3/4 by 12, 2 of these that are 5 3/4 by 7.5, and that's the bulk of your pages. The next piece we're going, so set those aside, and we'll do some scoring in just a moment. The next piece you're going to need is going to be the piece for your binding system, your hinge. And again, I did not come up with this hinge system. This is Kathy Orta's, and it's phenomenal because she is phenomenal. And so what you're going to need is a piece of the same colored cardstock, and you're going to want to cut it. I like to make my hinges a little bit smaller than my pages, so I'm going to make 5 and, let's see, we'll make them 5 5/8 by 12. So go ahead and trim your paper to 5 5/8 by 12. Okay, so again, it should look like this, and it's going to be 5 5/8 by 12. So that's going to be our hinge piece. So next what we're going to do, that's the bulk of our stuff that we're going to need right now that we're going to cut. We're going to go ahead and score and fold our pages. So get your scoring board out. so go ahead and get your pages that we cut. We're going to start with the 5 pieces that are 5 3/4 by 12, and you're going to go ahead and put them in. So your 12 inches is going this way, and your 5 3/4 is down here. And your first score mark is going to be at 5 3/4 and 11 1/2. So again, that's 5 3/4 and 11 1/2. So you're going to go ahead and do that to all 5 of these pieces. Okay, so that was all 5 pieces that we scored, and now we're going to take our 2 shorter pieces that are the 5 3/4 by 7 1/2, and on the 7 1/2 inch side, we're going to go ahead and score that at, let me see, here we go. On the 7 1/2 inch side, we're going to score 3 1/2. And again at 7. So again, 7 1/2 this way, 5 3/4 this way, and we're going to score it 3 1/2 and 7. Do that to the other sheet as well. Okay, so that's all the scoring we're going to do right now. So go ahead and put your scoring board out of the way and get your score tape out next, and your bone folder or something to burnish your tape. So let's start with the 7 1/2 by 5 3/4. What I want you to do is go ahead and fold on your score line, which is the 3 1/2 one. And then you're going to go ahead and fold that little flap in. Give it a good crease. And then that's going to go over there, and this is going to create your little pocket. So go ahead and take your score tape and run a piece of score tape right along that little 1/2 inch tab in the folded position. And you can use the 1/2 inch score tape. I have the 1/4 inch, so that's what I'm going to use. And then just peel the tape backing off and go ahead and press it down. And that's your first little tag pocket page. So go ahead and do that to the second page as well. Fold on the first one. Fold the small tab in and add your score tape to the little tab in the folded position. And pull the tape backing off and press it down. Okay. So now for the other 5 pages, we're going to go ahead and do basically the same thing. You're going to fold your page on the first 5 3/4 inch mark. And then go ahead and fold your little tab in. I like to fold it and then burnish it on the back side, just to make sure I don't make it crooked. And that's going to go ahead and create our pocket page. So go ahead and add your score tape to the 1/2 inch tab in the folded position. Burnish your tape. Peel off the backing and press it down. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that to the other 4 pages. so those are our pages. We should have 5 of these and then 2 of these. Those are the base of our pages for our mini album. So the pages are going to be 5 3/4 inch square, and our covers are going to be 6 by 6. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cover our chipboard. Now, if you're using like a black chipboard and you don't want to cover it, that's fine. I want mine to be white, so I am going to go ahead and wrap my chipboard. And I know I shared how to do this in the last video series, but we'll go ahead and do it again. So go ahead and get your chipboard out. Again, we've got 2 pieces that are 6 by 6 and one that's 2 3/4 by 6. And I'm going to go ahead and use the 8.5 by 11 for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have enough paper here. So what I like to do is take my 8.5 by 11 and go ahead and adhere 2 pieces together. And so get your score tape, and you're going to go ahead and run score tape on one end right here. And if you're using the 1/2 inch, the 1/2 inch will be fine, but I only have 1/4 inch, so I'm going to run 2 pieces of this. There's the first one and the second one. And again, you want to burnish your tape. Peel off the backing. And then go ahead and take your second piece and go ahead and just lay it right down on top of your tape like this. Press it down. Okay. So now what we can do is we can take our chipboard. And again, because we've seamed it here, we want to make sure we don't put our seam on any of a stress point. So what I like to do is take my spine and center that over my seam, and then go ahead and add my other 2 pieces as well. Okay, so what we're going to do, because if we did it this way and we started at the end, it's going to hit right where our chipboard is going to meet. We don't want that. It'll put stress on the seam. So go ahead and take your chipboard, and you're going to go ahead and run your score tape around all 4 sides, and then you're going to go ahead and put some adhesive in the center as well. So it's going to be like this. It doesn't matter if you start top or bottom or what sides on this, it doesn't matter. And you can use a wet glue if you prefer. Because I'm using white cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and use score tape because it's my favorite. Okay, so then go ahead and burnish your tape. And the way I like to do it to make sure that I'm keeping it straight is I like to use my ruler. And since this is 8.5 and our chipboard is 6 inches tall, we want at least an inch to wrap over the corners. So instead of trimming this down, I've got 6, 7, 8. I have an extra 1/2 inch. So I will make this 1 1/4 inches, which would be right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just, I think I'll do it from the bottom. It'll be easier for me to see so my head doesn't get in the way. 1 1/4. And we're going to go ahead and just center your spine piece right over that middle of where we glued the 2 pieces together. And press it down. Okay, so there's our spine piece. And then I like to flip it over and burnish it really well. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add this piece here, and again we need to leave a space so our book will fold, and then we're going to put the back right here, and we can trim these off on both sides. So go ahead and do the same thing. Go ahead and add score tape around the perimeter and also in the middle of both of these pieces. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to make sure that we leave a space in between. You can either use a piece of the chipboard as a guide, because you wanted at least that much of a space. You can make a little shim, or you can just use your ruler, which is what I'm going to do, because it's about the same width. So go ahead and take the backing off of your first piece. Take your ruler and set it there next to it, and make sure you line your pages up. And press it down. Go ahead and do the same thing for the back cover. Line your piece up and press it down. Burnish your chipboard really well. I like to flip it over and do both sides. Okay, then what we're going to do is we can go ahead and trim this off so we have a 1 1/4 inch piece on both sides. So go ahead and get your, you can either use your pencil and draw a line and then just cut it with your trimmer, or you use your scissors. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to wrap it, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to use a pencil here and trim that off. Now I take my paper trimmer and just trim it where my pencil line is, because it's not going to show because it's going to be covered. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to take our score tape again, and remember I told you we're going to use a lot of score tape, and go ahead and apply score tape around the perimeter of your chipboard all the way around. Just go right over those little gaps, and then also on the long sides and the short sides of your paper. But you don't need to go all the way to the corner, because we're going to go ahead and trim our corners off. But it's easier to put your score tape on and then trim than it is to try and put score tape on an angled corner. So just a little tip there for you, or at least it's easier for me. So go ahead and run it along the top edge and the bottom. And do the same thing with the cardstock, just on the outside edge. And you don't have to go all the way to the end, because we're going to trim it. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap our chipboard. So we want to go ahead and angle our corners. There's several ways you can do this. You can take a pencil and you can do at least 1/8 of an inch and draw an angle and then cut it with your scissors. Or you can use your craft knife and a mat, or you can use this fabulous little tool that I have, which is the Perfect Trim Ruler. And do I know where mine is? No, I don't, but that's okay. We'll improvise. I will use my craft knife and my cutting mat, which is a bummer because I really like that little tool. It's fabulous. Okay, craft knife. So you can use the metal ruler, you can use the Timmy ruler because it does have a metal edge. So go ahead and just put it right on there at an angle and trim. So you want to leave about, well, that's probably a little too much, but about 1/8 of an inch or so. You want to leave at least the thickness of your chipboard. So do that to all 4 corners. Okay, so we've got our corners trimmed. Now we're going to go ahead and fold over our cardstock to wrap our chipboard. The best way I found to do that is I like to go ahead and just run my bone folder around the perimeter of my chipboard. It just makes it a little easier to fold. And you want to do the long pieces, the long edges first, so we'll do the top and then we'll do the bottom. And then I like to just go ahead and bend it up a little bit on both sides. Go ahead and take the backing off your score tape. And I like to start in the middle and just fold it over. And press it down. And I like to run my bone folder around the top edge. Flip it around, we're going to do the other side. Okay, so now what we're going to do on our short sides is we're going to take our bone folder and just tuck those little corners right in, like this. Oopsie. And go ahead and take the tape off, backing, and fold it over. Same thing to the other side. Tuck in your corners. Okay, so that's our chipboard, and go ahead and just gently fold up on the front, and then go ahead and fold up on the back piece. And there you go. That's the base cover of your album. So we're going to go ahead and stop the video, and then we'll go ahead and continue tomorrow with making our hinge, and then we'll start decorating our pages and creating the flaps that go on the pocket pages. There you go, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.